Good morning. I look like I am 10 years old with a beard. I have this backwards hat on. We're doing arms today. 4 workouts, 4 sets each. Starting out with triceps at 57.5 pounds, cable push downs. Pretty good. I like to start with triceps. Usually, I don't know why. Yeah. Friday morning, I got here a little bit earlier than usual. That's because I didn't shower this morning. I often just don't have the energy to shower at night, although I would prefer to, but I don't have the energy. So I typically will shower in the morning before the gym, which is kind of a weird thing to do, but I like to be, just fresh in the morning. It helps me wake up. But this morning I did not need to do that, so I got to the gym a little bit earlier. And now we're here. I'm down a half pound today, which is good. So, progress in the right direction. And hopefully it continues. I've been really good with my diet lately. Zero cheating. Zero desire to cheat as well. There's a certain mindset you get into where it's like, I don't do that. When it comes to smoking, drinking, whatever. You could have a million people, everybody in the world could be, chanting my name, trying to pressure me into have a shot, have a drink of alcohol. I won't do it. I can't be peer pressured. I just can't. It won't happen. And, if it's alcohol or something, I see it. I have no desire for it. Personally, I think all alcohol tastes bad. And I'm just, it's like, hey, I don't drink alcohol. I'm not going to do that. And similarly with food types, fast food, sugar pop, and whatever else. There's certain things. It's like, that's not me. I don't do it. You can never get me to do it. In a million years, I won't do it. And having that kind of resolve where it's like, why don't you do it? Doesn't matter why. I don't even know why. I just don't. And that's how I'm starting to feel about this diet, where it's like I look at food in the fridge, I have snack food right next to me, and I see it, I'm like, that's not me. I don't eat snacks anymore. I don't eat above my calories. Everything fits within 1100. That's me. That's what I do. Don't ask why. This is how I do it, And now you can never tempt me with a bite of food. I don't know what it took for me to get into this mindset. I don't know how I got out of it, but I'm back in it now. And it's been, today's Friday, and I really officially started this on Monday, my diet. Last weekend, I was lower calories. I wasn't tracking them, but I know I was really low calories. So it's been about a week, and I feel great. Now, we are about 28 days away. That's pretty tough. Not a lot of time. I'm 133 flat. Yesterday I was 133.5. And, the way the weight will typically drop off is that it happens when I poop. And I don't know if it's going to be like this for most competitors, but I assume it's similar, where I'm in a calorie deficit, but I eat that food, and it gets burnt off by my body using it, and eventually I think it just will become heat energy off of my body, stuff like that. But I will sometimes not see a drop in weight until I poop, because even though I'm eating food that's less than my body burns in terms of calories, it's still kind of inside my body in a way, plus the water retention, any water weight that I have. So until so it'll build up in my body until I do finally poop it out, and then I'll drop off, 1 pound, a half pound at a time. So sometimes what I notice with myself is I'll keep a consistent weight for sometimes 2 or 3 days, and then it'll drop intensely, and then same pattern. Not all the time, but every now and again, that's a pattern within the larger weight fluctuations that I'll notice. Whew. Yeah. Let's do this workout. We are on to, what's it called? Skull crushers. I do 60 pounds. I could probably do 100 pounds, but, oh my gosh, they're playing this song and loudly? That's brave. That's pathetic. Yeah, so skull crushers, I could do heavier weight, but the problem is, as you'll see, is my hips kind of get raised up off the ground, and it's just, you know, the heavier weight that anybody does for any workout, there's a higher risk of injury from slightly bad form, especially if the weight is bad. The body mechanics of where you're at, you know, like how are you, like if you're doing a one arm thing, you know, how do you counterbalance that? And you might end up pulling a muscle or something of that nature. So lighter weight is generally better, especially for arms where your shoulders and elbows can get really injured. And for me, you know, when I'm lifting up the weight up to get it into position, you know, that can actually, I can do that poorly, especially if the weight is really high, because of the way I have to do it without using my legs to, you know, maybe help lift the weight. That's where blood flow restriction comes in handy, and I highly recommend anybody does blood flow restriction, especially if you're older. And I've talked about blood flow restriction before, but essentially it's not that it gives you anything extra. It doesn't put you beyond where you can get without it. All it does is get you there faster. So if you want to get a really good pump and you want to get a really good workout, but you want to use lighter weight, you'll have to do more reps, but you want to use lighter weight maybe because you have some back issues or something, so you really have to isolate your arms, because if you start to put your back into it with heavier weight, then you're going to mess yourself up. So it lets you do lighter weight, which means less risk of injury, or if you are injured, then it helps with that. And it gets you an insane pump. That insane pump, to be fair, you can get without the blood flow restriction. However, without the blood flow restriction, you have to do more weight, more reps yet, and everything to get that pump. And sometimes you might never get that pump. So it's like a really good way to just get a really good workout. And it's, again, not necessarily that blood flow restriction will give you a better workout or more muscle growth than without it. It's just you're guaranteed to have a good pump, versus without it, you sometimes, some days, might not have a good pump. So anyway, that's my little, I don't know what to call it, advice / little sciencey knowledge bit there. So you might notice how I toss the bar forward and I use that momentum and that weight to pull me up. And then as soon as I get to a part where I can kind of balance it, I'll pull the weight back. I just failed to do it. I'm so embarrassed sometimes when I fail at stuff like that. You know, it's like I'll try to transfer from the bench to the wheelchair. I'll try to sit up. I don't like when people see me struggle. That's the thing, is like when I'm going uphill, I never try to lunge my body forward. That's what helps, because when you're going at it, when you're at an uphill angle, you want your weight to be on the front wheels, not on the back wheels. Otherwise, you'll just tip backwards. And I don't know. I don't like to look like I'm struggling. I want to just always look calm and collected, smooth, kind of James Bond type. That's usually what I go for. So I want to make it look easy, stuff like that. Can't always do that though. Yeah. All right, halfway done though. Now we're on to biceps and then out ski. You know, I think cruises or an all-inclusive type of vacation would be really fun to do, but not for a while. I have a lot of other things that I really want to do. That's the tough thing, is, you know, for those who enjoy traveling and have the financial and time ability to do so, you know, I can only really do 2, maybe 3 good vacations per year, like to travel. And when you think like, okay, I'm 26 right now, I have at least 10 more years of being quote unquote young, maybe even less, you know, like just the ease of, it's much easier to travel when you're younger. And then you can also you can make more friends, you know, you can meet people your age who are also open to like helping you out and hanging out and whatever. It's pretty common to like hit up a hostel or crash at somebody's couch, stuff like that. Where if I'm 40 years old and I'm traveling, you know, people just aren't going to be as nice to me because I'm older. I'm supposed to be an adult. I'm supposed to have my own hotel, have my stuff together. And yeah, I mean, that's just my perception. But, you know, when you're younger and you're traveling, you're like, yeah, I'm traveling. I'm doing a solo travel. I'm only 26. I'm exploring the world. People are much more open to that rather than being like, I'm 50 and I'm traveling the world. It's like, okay, man, but you're on your own. You know, like, how do you meet your peers and stuff? Because a lot of people, by the time they're 50, they have a family, they have kids or something like that. Whereas when you're in your 20s, music is terrible. When you're in your 20s, you can, you know, meet other students who are university students or master students and, you know, travel with them, and they're much more open to travel because they don't have a family yet, stuff like that. So I want to travel as much as I can now while I'm young. And it's tough because if you think about it, until I'm 30, I have 4 more years until I'm 30, a little bit less, like 3.5 years until I'm 30, which means that's like 6 places that I can go. You know, so I want to go to Brazil, Turkey. I want to go back. I want to go to like Hong Kong. I'm going to Taiwan soon. When the Ukraine war is over, I'd like to go to Eastern Europe, Africa, like North Africa, Egypt and stuff, maybe South Africa, Morocco, yeah, stuff like that. But, you know, I really only can choose 6 spots, like for a major vacation, you know, and it's weird to think about, because 6 is not a big number, but when you think about between now and when I'm 30, that's a long time. All right, moving on to the last workout, which is upright seated curls. I might want to do, what's it called? Preacher curls. I think I'm going to do preacher curls instead. I'm just going to change it because I want to. But yeah, so we're going to be getting out of here a little bit earlier than usual, which is really awesome. And then I can cook up my food. I look forward to breakfast every day. Egg whites, toss in some spinach, some tomatoes, a little bit of seasoning. It's always real good. Love egg whites. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today. This last workout I'll just record and post. I don't think I'm actually not gonna do. I don't know. We'll see what I decide within the next minute. If I do preacher curl, that means I have to do, you know, a set per side. Or if I do upright seated curls, it's 1 set for both sides at the same time, so I would get done quicker or faster. I don't know which word is correct, but yeah, this is my last talking segment. Have a good day. I love you. Bye-bye.